Great to be back. What can I do for you?
Let's do it.
What's the difference between Kyle Whittingham as a head coach and Kyle Whittingham as your defensive
I
coordinator?
think he's the same. He was the head coach of the defense. And I tell him, I've been lucky. I've been around some coaches. I don't know if I've ever been around one like him. You know, not many people know this story, but he interviewed for the job, and I knew some people, and I said, you know, what do you think about Kyle? A lot of people said, don't hire him because he's a tough guy to get along with. And I'm like, well, so am I. I don't care about that. I care about how good he is. And Utah was great in defense. And so I met with him, asked him some hard questions, and today we're still extremely close. But I don't know if I've ever worked as well with a defense coordinator as I did Kyle. I mean, he just handled his business. I ran the offense, he ran the defense, and it was as good a 2 years I've ever had.
Was he tough to get along with? Was he tough to get along with?
Zero. No. He very. You know, I guess I appreciate it. You know, when someone's passionate about something and wants to fight for it, I like that better than someone. But I'm confident enough in my own skin that if I say, Kyle, do this, but I never really had to. I don't know if we've ever had a conflict together. And we were pretty good, but early on when I would maybe do things or schedule things that he wasn't used to, he'd ask me why. And Kyle, 18 or something, how many years?
His 21st.
21st. I don't know if I ever see that again. But I talk to Kyle all the time, and I know how much he loves. He is Utah. He's Utah football.
You think he keeps going?
I'm not going there.
Coach, when you find out you're coming, Big Noon Kickoff's coming here,
I've
what
been fighting
initially
I was
hits your
fighting
brain?
for years. We're on those meetings on Monday. I said, go to Salt Lake, go to Salt Lake. And when I saw this game coming down the ropes, I said, I forget who we played. We played Wyoming. And then I can't remember who Texas Tech played. I'm like, just win, baby. And then I saw the score 3-0 after. I'm like, oh, come on, Utes. And then they said, we're coming here.
What's the first thing you do when you get to town? Is there a place that you eat or do or
I call my friend Eric Jacobson. I call Bo Nagihi, Casey Evans, and then I obviously talked to Kyle Morgan. So I went to practice yesterday and got to see them. I've been back a few times. He's had me come back, and I think I spoke at clinics or that kind of stuff. But I just love it. It was now that we can say this, it's my favorite place we ever lived. And Shelly's right over here. You guys should talk to her. She loves this place, and that was so hard to leave here. But
Did you envision back in 03 and 04 that Utah's program would be in a bigger place?
well, Chris Hill was here, and we were just laughing about Spence Eccles. We built the facility, and his only rule was make sure it's done by the team down south week the year later. So we built that thing in less than a year. And then I remember we were going to go see, I think it was Larry Scott. I don't know if he was the commissioner of the Pac-12. But we had more Pac-12 players, more Pac-12 facilities, more Pac-12 support than most Pac-12 schools. And so we pushed it really hard. And so when they got to the Pac-12, Kyle struggled a little bit early. And I said, you're trading Air Force, New Mexico, and Wyoming for Oregon, USC, and UCLA. So you got to go get recruiting, and they did.
Man, just what are your thoughts on the upcoming matchup this weekend?
These are two of the best teams in the Big 12. I actually think the loser of this game is definitely not out in the Big 12 race and definitely not out as far as a playoff spot. So I think when I'm watching tape of all of them, and we've been able to cover Iowa State earlier this year, I think these two teams are the two best teams in the Big 12. So I expect them probably to be seeing each other a little bit later on. Now, the loser will need help because no one plays Iowa State. But that being said, I think they're the two best on tape so far to me right now.
Urban coming back to Salt Lake City, for you guys being around him so much, what does being back here, do you see what this place means to him?
Yeah, I think, it holds some sentimental value to him. I think it was a place that meant a lot because, he had the success that he had at Bowling Green, his first stop as a head coach, but Utah really solidified him. It had me calling him after our coach got fired, Kyle Whittingham, and I was trying to get him to come to Notre Dame, but he obviously ended up going to Florida instead. So this was a huge stop for him, I think, for him personally in his professional career, but also kind of building up this program. And Kyle Whittingham taking it and really running with it to create, what's been an extremely successful program, a consistent program since then.
with you playing quarterback and Devin Dampier playing as well as he is, what do you see in his game, and where can he evolve as the season goes on?
Well, they need to evolve the downfield passing game. That's something that right now, just comparatively speaking, especially because you're going up against a quarterback in Baron Morton, who's the best in the Big 12, pushing the ball down the field, those 20-plus yard throws, and then you've got arguably somebody who's only hit one. And he hasn't had that many attempts. So it's been more about his ability to kind of create with his legs, the running game, kind of more about those quick intermediate throws. So I think they've got to continue to evolve the pass game more down the field so you can take some of those chunks. And look, neither team has really played anyone thus far, so they're probably holding some things back and preparing for that in this sort of matchup.
They recruit NFL draft picks, and that's what they've done. That's what the Big 12's got.
Kyle went to the Big 12 media days, and on purpose, he got a question about, is the offensive line the best O-line in the country? And he said, well, I don't know because I haven't studied anybody, but it's the best O-line that I've had at Utah. So when you watch it on tape, do you think, given whatever limitations they have in the other guys on offense, if the O-line wins the day, will they get enough to ride those guys?
Normally speaking, if you play good defense, which we will, if you don't turn the ball over, which we don't, and you control the line of scrimmage, those are three check, you win the game. So if you control the line of scrimmage, but somehow the ball goes in their hands, we won't. So it's called a plan to win. And it's something Kyle believes in and their team believes in. If they take care of the ball, control the line of scrimmage, and play defense, they'll win. Well, the shot and the shooting? I don't think so. It's a good question, but I'm not in those conversations. They just say go here and it's okay.
We were talking about this after you came on the show today. Alex's name is now on the side of Rice Eccles Stadium, and he's one of the greatest players here, probably the greatest player here ever. You coached a lot of really great players, Heisman Trophy finalists at every spot. Where does Alex Smith compare to the best you've ever coached?
He's right there. He's either 1A, 1B. It's not fair to, Tebow or Percy or J.T. Barrett or whatever, but I talk to Alex all the time, and I went to his Hall of Fame induction, and I'm glad the country got to see, because he's smart, he's brilliant, he's obviously an incredible player, but still I think Alex's greatest quality is toughness. People don't know after that injury, they got to witness it, but he was, you remember when he played for us, he was rugged, tough guy, and the story is so great about when we first met, he kind of looked at me like, this isn't for me, and I said, it's probably not. Stiff white quarterback, I don't know if we need that. And then he turned out to be a really athletic, because we want a guy that can run.
Yeah.
And he was such a good, not a good player, great player. And then you look at Paris Warren, Steve Savoy, Quinton Ganther, Marty, all the guys around him, Travis Atanas, Madsen. That was a heck of a, I always tell Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart, you're lucky you didn't get us in 04.
All respect to Matt, who won the Heisman Trophy that year. We were looking at the numbers. Alex accounted for more touchdowns and fewer turnovers.
Did you tell him that?
No, not yet.
Is he on here? I get him every week with that.
If Utah was at that point as a program what they are now, I think he wins the Heisman.
I agree with you. Yeah, we were at Mountain West, and I think we would have been in the playoff, and I think we would have done some damage in the playoff.
I've always said only Auburn or USC had a chance against that 04 team. They were really good that year. We would have killed everyone else.
Do you remember we put almost 700 yards on North Carolina, and we beat Arizona? Yeah, it was a heck of a team. Beat A&M, beat the brakes off them in the first game.
My most distinct memory of that season was I think we turned the ball over 3 times against Air Force early, and being, the role I was in, standing on the sideline and not being worried at all, despite the hole being dug, because I was like, we got Morgan Scalley and Tommy Hackenbruck, and Fifi will force a fumble, and then Alex will score. But I remember not being worried at all that we were going to lose a game we were down in because of the work.
I was screaming like a lunatic, and Kyle Whittingham looks at me and goes, we're going to be all right.
Yeah.
Any other questions?